I have 5 different boat bumpers or fenders, depending on what you call them, lined up right here. We're gonna go one by one through them. I bought all of these with my own money. This is not a sponsored video, and I just wanna show you some of the differences here so that way you can choose what's gonna be best for you. And at the end, I'll tell you which one I like the best, and I'll link all of these down below if you wanna pick them up too. So the first one that we got here is one of these white guys. We've all seen these. In fact, they're the most common, probably cheapest option that you can get. These ones right here are nice if you're just looking for something cheap, and you can line up the side of your boat with a couple of them, 2, 3, 4 of them, and you're not worried about it because they're just gonna be rolling back and forth like on a dock, if the dock is gonna be at that perfect height. One of the things that I don't love about it is you can see here, obviously normally we would be tying to something like this, but I don't have enough slots up here, so I'm tying back here. But even if we go higher up here, to protect even this rail, you'll notice what happens. The rail is all the way at the top, so the only way to protect the rail is gonna be to have this tied far enough back and then it's sticking out to the side rather than being flush with the side of the boat. So you're not gonna get protection on the top part of your boat with these white bumpers. Now, if you're not worried about that, maybe that isn't a big issue for you. What I'm looking for when I'm looking for a boat fender is something to protect from the top rail down to kind of as far as I can go. So if you're like me and you're gonna be moving around in a lot of different bodies of water, you never know what that dock height is gonna be, and so you want the most protection possible. Plus, if you're bumping up against rocks like I did previously, it's nice to have more coverage. So that is one of the downsides here. Another downside of this type here is it rolls. So if you've got it there and something is pushed up against it and it rolls, it can actually roll up out of the way, and now you're no longer protected. If you've got a lot of waves and a lot of rocking, that is something very common that does happen. So that is these guys right here. Again, probably the cheapest option out of the list. Next up is another budget-friendly option that tries to solve for a lot of the problems that these white buoys have. The nice thing about this is you can actually put it and tie it higher up because the tie point is actually on some fabric here that can actually go over the rail. So you can see if I had this tied tight to this guy right here, I'm actually covering my top rail, and then there's actually a bend in it here, which is allowing it to bend back against the boat if there were pressure against it, which is great. So that's one of the nice things there. It is flat on the back of it as well. And so when it pushes up against the boat, it's not gonna be going anywhere. That's another one of the nice things here is you're not gonna have to worry about the rolling from side to side. This one also, as you can tell, is one of the tallest options available. And so it's gonna give you some of the best coverage almost all the way down to this bottom rib that I've got on my boat, all the way up to the top rub rail, which is pretty nice. Next up, we've got the first of a few of these hard rubber options. These ones are actually kind of nice because they can actually be mounted to the dock, so that way this could be mounted to a dock post on the back side here, and you could have it strapped around a dock post, and then your boat would come up. Imagine that's a dock there, your boat could come up and bump into the side of it, which is another dual option for this one, which is actually pretty nice. The other benefit of this hard style here is this is like a really hard foam and kind of rubberized coating on it that you can kind of see here. It's very dense, it's not super soft. I can't really compress it with just my hand at all, whereas this one is foam that you can push in. Think of like a gym mat. That's kind of what this material is here. And so from a durability standpoint, you're gonna get a lot more durability out of this style. Now, a couple of things that I don't really care for in this one here is that the way that the attachment point is on here is it rubs against the side, which wants it to kind of angle out rather than hanging straight. That's one thing that I don't really care for. On the back here, you actually do have a clasp that allows you to adjust the height up and down by just strapping it around. So it makes it really easy to attach instead of just a rope option like you're gonna have on these more budget-friendly options, which are like your white round one. In this black one, you also just have a rope attached to it. The other thing that you're probably noticing already here is that you do not have a lot of vertical coverage. This is a shorter one in order to keep it a little bit more compact. Maybe that's all that you need. but it's not going to go all the way down. It's also going to keep the price down a little bit, but you do have a nice handle here in case you want to grab it and pull it up. As we move over to the 4th and 5th options, the one on the left is definitely taller than the one on the right. These both have a handle to grab on the bottom and on the top, so you can imagine you can use them to tie to mount other things to. If you're looking to mount these to a dock, which is great, similar like what you can do with this one and this one. If you're looking to mount these to a dock, you're going to have more mounting points, which is great. You can even mount them horizontally on the side of a dock and get some good bumper coverage there. So these dual purpose for on a dock, or if you want portable to leave in your boat for when you're going from different place to different place and potential different docking situations. The other thing that's nice about these harder rubberized ones, because these are all kind of the same, these ones are definitely a little bit more sturdy than this one, and of course way more than the padded one and then just the inflatable white ones that you get here. But these are also really nice because they are so squared off to have in between boats. So you can kind of do like what you've got here, where you've got it mounted on the side of the boat. So if you're in kind of a party out in the water where you've got multiple boats next to each other, this is really nice to pad both boats on both sides of the boat. That is another nice thing about these 3 harder ones. This one will work, but again, you've got to make sure you've got it positioned right and it doesn't have as much rigidity to it, so it could compress pretty quickly, and then you're going to run into an issue, and this is just going to roll out of the way. Other things that are nice about these is you'll see the way that they've designed the attachment points here. They're designed in a way that you can actually cinch them pretty tight here, and the attachment point is far enough down on the pad here that it's actually gonna give you some coverage above that tying point. So if you were to tie it even straight, super tight like that, you're gonna have a lot of coverage up top. Whereas if you hang it down a little bit like what I would do, you're gonna get coverage for this full rail here and then going down, and you can see just how straight and aligned it is. Whereas if we go over to this one that we were looking at earlier, you can see, let me get the black one out of the way, you can see the attachment point is much lower down. So in order to get it to not fall down over, you'd have to tie it further up, and then you're losing even more of your length. The other reason is because this is in the middle of it, you've got more top weight where it wants to tip over, and you've only got the one attachment point for the rope. Whereas here, you can cinch it at the top or at the bottom, or you could do both if you want to. Again, many different mounting options here available, which I really like. These two also have these cinch down points that allow you to simply loop this, tie it. You can kind of do whatever you want with it, but it makes it really easy to adjust in and out because, again, this isn't an anchor. This is just intended to protect your boat, and those things work pretty great. And here is the back of the shorter one. You can see it is hollow in order to keep it lightweight and so that it can float and make it easier to move that tie down rope through if you want to. And then of course you've got the handles or the tie down points if you wanted to do these as a horizontal on a dock or something like that as well. The biggest difference again between these two is the length. So this one is a lot taller, which you can kind of see here just how straight up and down that is. The coverage that you're getting is all the way from up here at the rail all the way down almost to that bottom rail, which is going to be well in the water of wherever you are, more than likely. All of them are linked down below. Let me know if this video helped you out, and until next time, take it easy and tight line.